Here at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre happened during a recent restoration around the tomb of Jesus. That's when excavators dug below the original level of the 4th century church.
In the heart of Jerusalem stands one of the most sacred and storied landmarks in the Christian faith, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. For centuries, this hallowed sanctuary has drawn pilgrims, scholars, and seekers from every corner of the globe. Its weathered stones, smoky chapels, and echoing halls have borne witness to prayers whispered in every language, to moments of deep reverence, and to centuries of human history layered with devotion. This ancient church is traditionally believed to encompass both the hill of Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified, and the tomb where he was buried and later rose again. Within its walls lies the heart of the Christian story. But now, beneath its foundation, something remarkable has come to light, something that links the spiritual with the scientific, faith with fact, and scripture with stone. Before we dive into this extraordinary journey of discovery, we invite you to subscribe. Your support allows us to continue sharing powerful stories that bring the Bible to life, stories that blend historical evidence with spiritual truth, reminding us that the faith we hold dear is not rooted in myth, but in history. Thank you for joining us on this exploration. The remarkable journey began not with the intent to uncover secrets, but with a need for preservation. Like all ancient structures, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre requires continual care. Restoration projects are regularly undertaken to protect the integrity of the building, ensure its safety for visitors, and preserve its spiritual and cultural legacy. In one such restoration project, focused on the area surrounding the edicule, the shrine that encloses what is believed to be the tomb of Jesus, a team of archaeologists and conservators was brought in to carry out delicate excavation work. Among them was Dr. Francesca Stler, a leading archaeologist with years of experience studying the ancient layers of Jerusalem's rich and complicated past. Under her guidance, the team began to peel back the layers of stone flooring and sediment beneath the church, layer by layer, floor by floor. What they uncovered would not only alter their understanding of the site, but would also provide new clarity to a passage in the Gospel of John, an often overlooked, but deeply significant verse that speaks of a garden, a tomb, and the proximity of life to death. As the workers delved deeper into the foundation of the 4th century church, they journeyed back in time. They passed through strata dating to the Byzantine era, the Roman occupation, and even earlier, touching the very earth that may have known the footsteps of Jesus and those who witnessed his crucifixion. What they found first was evidence of a vast stone quarry. This was not entirely unexpected. Parts of Jerusalem had long been quarried for stone used in construction across the city, but this particular quarry had long since ceased operation by the time of Christ. What was surprising, however, was what followed. The team discovered that this disused quarry had been repurposed. What had once been a place of extraction had become a place of rest. They found multiple tombs hewn directly into the bedrock, matching the burial customs of the first. These were not grand monuments, but humble resting places, quiet and solemn spaces carved with care. The setting was consistent with the description of the tomb in which Jesus was laid, new, unused, and located in a garden near the site of the crucifixion. Then came the most astonishing revelation of all. Amid the rock-cut tombs, the team found the unmistakable signs of agriculture. Dry stone terraces, structured and deliberate, revealed that the ground had been intentionally cultivated. Soil samples yielded ancient pollen grains, traces of flowering plants and food crops, once grown in the very earth beneath the church. It wasn't merely wild overgrowth, but a tended garden cultivated and cared for, thriving amid the memory of death. This garden, just beside a Roman execution site, mirrored the description found in John 19:41. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. For centuries, theologians, historians, and believers had pondered the significance of this detail. A garden next to Golgotha seemed incongruent. How could beauty and life coexist beside such brutality and death? Many assumed the passage was symbolic, a poetic flourish added by the gospel writer. But now, archaeology suggests otherwise. The evidence beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has transformed what was once seen as metaphor into something tangible and real. The juxtaposition of the garden and the tomb is no longer merely a literary device, it is a historical reality. The quarry became a burial site, the burial site became a garden, and the garden became a shrine. The story preserved in the Gospel has been echoed by the stones beneath our feet. This finding is more than a fascinating archaeological discovery. It speaks to the very heart of Christian belief, that Jesus Christ died, was buried and rose again in a specific place, at a specific time in the real physical world. Faith is often considered intangible, rooted in hope and spiritual conviction. But here we find that the physical world, the rocks, the soil, the pollen, supports the spiritual narrative. The Gospel writers did not simply imagine a garden, they described what was real. When Helena, the mother of Constantine, journeyed to Jerusalem in the early 4th century, she did so out of deep conviction. Guided by her faith, she believed she had found the site of Christ's death and resurrection. She ordered a church to be built over it, preserving and honoring its sacred significance. For nearly 1,500 years, skeptics questioned whether she had truly identified the correct location. Could she, without modern tools or maps, have really pinpointed the holiest site in Christendom? And yet now, as modern science unveils what lies below, the stones themselves seem to answer her faith with confirmation. What we are witnessing is not coincidence. The alignment of historical structures, archaeological findings and biblical descriptions is too precise to ignore. This is not a vague resemblance but a striking correlation between what the Gospel records and what the earth reveals. The story is being confirmed, not through faith alone but through evidence unearthed by tools and study. For too long people have been told they must choose between science and scripture, between reason and belief. But discoveries like this one show that the truth does not divide, it unites. The implications are profound. They remind us that the Christian story is not an abstract myth passed down through imagination and allegory. It is grounded in history. It is written not only in holy books, but in the very land where it all took place. The crucifixion was not a fable, it happened at a real place. The garden was not an image, it grew in real soil. The tomb was not a symbol, it was carved from real rock. This is a moment of convergence, where the sacred and the scholarly walk hand in hand. The Gospel becomes not just something we read, it becomes something we can see, something we can touch. Every piece of stone, every layer of soil, every grain of ancient pollen serves as a silent witness to the greatest story ever told. It is as if the earth itself has been holding its breath, waiting for the right moment to reveal its testimony. Long break, as Jesus said in Luke 19:40, if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out. And now, 2,000 years later, the stones are crying out. They are proclaiming the truth of the resurrection. They are bearing witness to a moment that changed the course of history, not just spiritually, but historically. These stones, once buried and forgotten, now speak louder than words. They tell us that our faith is not in vain. They remind us that we are not clinging to fables, but to fact. And yet this discovery is not the end of the story, it is just the beginning. Jerusalem remains a city rich in secrets. Beneath its streets and churches lie untold layers of history, waiting to be revealed. Every excavation has the potential to shed more light on the life and times of Jesus, on the culture of his world, and on the reality of the events that shaped Christianity. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is no longer just a symbol, it is a living document of history. Beneath its chapels and altars lies a narrative carved in stone, a narrative of death conquered, of hope renewed, of a garden where new life began. It is not just a destination for pilgrims, it is a testament for believers. It is proof that what we believe is not only spiritually true, but historically grounded. This discovery, then, is more than a headline. It is a holy testimony. It is evidence that the resurrection of Jesus was not merely a theological event, it was a historical one. It occurred in a place that can still be visited, touched and studied. It happened on soil that still remembers the weight of that moment, and it is remembered in the stones that now speak. Listen to them. Let us hear their story, not just with our ears, but with our hearts. Let us see in their silent testimony a loud confirmation that Jesus Christ lived, died, and rose again, and that the very earth beneath our feet is echoing the truth of the gospel. And so, as we stand on this sacred ground that holds the memory of suffering and the promise of life, we are reminded that faith and evidence are not enemies. They are companions. They walk together through time, and today they stand united in the soil of Jerusalem, where the stones still cry out,